Hi there, and welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today I am super excited to share with you my recipe for key lime pie, and we are going to make it right in the Ninja Foodi. Couldn't be easier, and it's absolutely delicious. So the first thing we're gonna do is get our crust ready, and we're gonna use a 7-inch springform pan. So all of these measurements are based on a 7-inch. If you're using something bigger, you're gonna need a little bit more of the ingredients. All right, so the first thing with the crust is you could use graham crackers. You could use a cookie of some sort. Really, the sky's the limit. You can use whatever you like. What I use for my key lime pie, which I used to make when I owned a restaurant all the time, it was very popular, is ginger snaps. I know, right? Doesn't that sound great? So it adds this special touch to the key lime pie, and I know you're gonna love it, so I hope you give it a try. All right, so I have 2 cups of ginger snaps, which is about 8 ounces, give or take. What we want to end up with is about 1.5 cups of crumbles. So I'm going to do it this way. Now, the easiest way to do it is in a food processor. Just put them in, hit the pulse a couple times until they become, you don't want too fine of a powder, but you don't want too many big chunks in there either. But I'm going to just do it with a tenderizer. And this tenderizer is heavy, so it does a great job. It's from Pampered Chef. It has 2 sides. There's actually little spikes on one side for pounding meat. It works great. I've used it making beef jerky. And then there's a smooth side, which is what we're going to use today. That would be great for like pounding chicken breast and crushing up these cookies. The other thing that would work is a rolling pin. So really, you can use whatever you want. So I'm going to put not the whole amount in here. What I found is if you put the whole amount, you can't get them laid out as nicely, and they end up not crushing up as easily. And you also want to get the air out or you'll pop your bag. So just get that air out real quick. Okay. And then I'm just going to start. Now this is going to make some motion and some noise, so I'm going to just show you how it works, just so you can see how well it crushes. And then you won't hear me do this anymore. Perfect. I'm just going to do the rest of them. This is about the size of the crumbles that you want. So there's some bigger pieces. I leave those in because they actually add a nice crunch and texture to the crust. So I leave those in, and that's about the size that you want. All right, so I'm just gonna finish up doing the rest of these, and then we will get the crust ingredients mixed together and into the springform pan. All right, so I'm all finished crushing up the ginger snaps. And in this bowl here, I have 1/4 cup of melted butter. And I also have 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And the reason why I add those in, even though these are cookies and they are, they are sweetened, ginger snaps have a certain flavor. And with the key lime pie, that is very, the key lime filling is very tart. The added sugar does help, but it is optional. I love the cinnamon. It just adds something really spectacular to the ginger snaps. I really encourage you to use it, but the sugar is certainly optional. It's your preference. All right, so I'm gonna mix those in with the crushed up ginger snaps. Then we're gonna mix it in with the butter to create the crust that we're gonna put into the pan. And this would be the same process no matter what you decide to use. If you use straight graham crackers, you can add in the sugar and the cinnamon and add in a little bit of ginger if you want. I've made it that way several times, and it's really good. So, add in probably 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and maybe 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of ginger. If you're not sure how much to add, what you can do is mix in 1/2 and then give it a little taste and see what it tastes like. And if you need more ginger flavor, add in a little more dried ginger. Dried ginger though, not fresh ginger. You wouldn't want to use fresh ginger in this. Okay, so let's pour that in. And we're just gonna mix it up. Now the idea here is to combine the butter with the crushed up cookies to create kind of a, not wet, but moist breading, if you will. It's, what is it, a cookie breading? I don't know, it wouldn't be called a breading at all. But anyway, the crust. So that you can press it into the springform pan. And that way it will create a solid layer. We're gonna bake it for a few minutes too. So that helps it all just combine. That way your key lime filling does not fall through and get to the bottom of the pan. So this will create that barrier of a crust. All right, so there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Normally, what I do, because I made a lot of these, is I dump about half of this mixture into the springform pan. So then I tilt the pan over like this, and I spread it around the edges and push it to the edges. You want about a 1/4 inch thickness. And I take it 3/4 of the way up the sides of the pan. This is the easiest way that I found to do it. But of course, if you know of another way, you can do it that way too. Now you might have seen that fall off. That's because I didn't press it hard enough. Usually it will stay as you move it around. Just press it pretty firmly. Don't worry about what's falling around on the bottom because we haven't even gotten there yet. We're going to put the rest in and do the bottom. And if it keeps falling off, then you don't have enough butter. And if you don't have enough butter, all you have to do is put this back into the bowl and add a little more melted butter and it'll be fine. But I can just, it's going fine now. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so now I'm gonna add in the rest and this is gonna create the bottom. Now, if you wanted a thinner crust, you could certainly just use a portion of this. You might be able to cut it down by 1/4 and be fine. But I like the thicker crust. I think it tastes really good. All right, so now that it's in the bottom, I'm gonna press it in. You can still, like I have this one side I wanna build up, so I'm just gonna go around and kind of use the extra. We have a good amount in here, so that's good. You can also use a tool. There's a tool that they have, but I just find using my hands works the best. All right, that looks great. All right, so let me just wash my hands real quick and then we will get this in to bake for 5 minutes while we mix up our filling. All right, so now that we have the crust formed in the springform pan, we're gonna go ahead and use the rack that comes with the Ninja Foodi. I do wanna let you know to be careful about this rack because of the way it's designed. A lot of people have had trouble, including me, with things falling off the rack. I'll never forget when I was testing my cheesecake recipe, which is another delicious dessert made in the Ninja Foodi, and I will link to that right up there. I took the one out, the first one I tested, and it was like looking so beautiful and fell on the floor. So be careful. Make sure you set it down away from an edge because these tend to slip a little bit. All right, so we're gonna get this on. This is a 7-inch and it fits really well. If you have an 8-inch, you're gonna have to kind of finagle it to fit in, but it will fit on the rack. All right, so we're gonna just put this in here and we're gonna go on bake. No need to preheat for this, okay? In fact, I don't suggest that you do because we just want a nice low heat to kind of set that crust in. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the bake roast function and we're gonna take it to 300 for 5 minutes. Okay, and that's gonna give us enough time to make up our filling because the filling for a key lime pie is super easy. The first thing I have here is 4 egg yolks. And I'm gonna put those in and I'll just use this so we don't dirty another another spatula. So put in the 4 egg yolks. All right, so the 4 eggs are in. The next thing we're gonna add in is our key lime juice. Now you could certainly buy a bag of key limes and squeeze them yourself, but I found that I was making so many pies that I decided to actually buy key lime juice. And you can find this at most grocery stores. It works beautifully. So it's by Nellie and Joe's and it's Key West lime juice. And it works really well. So I have a half of a cup of that. And we also have 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. So I'm gonna go ahead and beat these eggs up for a minute or so. Okay, that's good. So what I did was I started out on low, went up to high, and whipped in some air into these. Not too much, you don't have to get carried away. And I just mixed them up for about a minute. Then I'm gonna add in the key lime juice and the sweetened condensed milk. And we're gonna mix this up. Now I'll just do this on low speed. All right, there we go. That looks great. You're gonna wanna mix this on low until it looks like an uncooked custard, so it thickens up. All right, that's perfect. I probably mixed that for about a minute as well. So we're done with the mixer now. Set it over there. The last thing we're gonna add in is the zest of 1 lime. Now, if you have key limes and you're squeezing them fresh, you can go ahead and use the zest from those. And great timing, because our pie crust is ready to go. So I'm just going to lightly zest this. You don't want to get the white part. That's called the pith. It's bitter. So you just want to gently rub the lime over your zester. This is a nifty tool to have too. I use it a lot. I will definitely link to this below in the video description as well, in case you're interested in getting one. The zest of citrus adds so much flavor to so many foods. I end up using it a lot in my recipes. All right, that looks good. I'm kind of leaving some that I didn't get, and there's a reason for that. So I would say I zested 3/4 of this. I'm leaving a little bit that I didn't because at the very end, I'm gonna use it as garnish over the whole top of the pie because we have something really exciting that we're gonna put on as a garnish. So you definitely wanna stick around to the end of this video to see that. It's beautiful and it tastes delicious. All right, so I'm just gonna pull this out. And again, be very careful. This likes to slip. We don't want it to slip. I'm actually gonna take it off the rack while I fill it. You don't have to do that, but I am gonna do it because I've learned the hard way and I don't wanna be filling it and it starts sliding and slides off. So now keep in mind, this is hot, so we don't wanna touch that. And I just mixed in the lime zest just a little bit. And now all you're gonna do is pour into the pie shell. Scrape all of it out of there. We want every little bit. Wonderful. Okay, so this is what it looks like. All right, so the pie filling is about 2/3 of the way up the crust, and that's what I like to see because at the end, we're gonna do something with that extra crust that's kind of cool for the pie. All right, now we're gonna go into pressure for 15 minutes, so we need to have some water in the pot. So I'm gonna put in 1 cup of water, and that's all you need, that's fine. And we're gonna get this back on the rack. One thing we need to do though is cover it. Now, there's a couple of options for this, but I got something from Amazon the other day, and I have not tried these out. So I thought it would be great for you and I to try them out together to see if they are worth purchasing. Right now, I feel very excited about them. So you can cover with foil, or if you have these, you can use these. And they are these silicone covers I got on Amazon. I will link to them below. Of course, we're gonna see if they work or not, right? And they just go over your pans. And believe it or not, they do create a seal. It was amazing. They come in different sizes. So like if you were gonna put like some pudding in here, you could put that seal on. And it does seal, it really does. And I was able to do that with this as well. Now I can't because it's full now, but when it was empty, I could just pick it right up. So that's pretty cool. They come in several sizes. And I don't know the measurements because I didn't measure them. It looks like this is probably about 8 inches. So this would have been maybe 10 inches. I had to cut it down because I wanted it to fit my 8-inch pan. And then there's a larger one, which is really cool because it goes right on here. And I mean, look, that's a seal. And all I did was just pop it down. So I'm shocked about these. Honest to goodness, I am. To me, that's unbelievable. I'm super excited about these, and let's see if it keeps the water out, because if it does, this is a game changer for me. I don't have to waste foil all the time. So super excited. And I think this one's gonna fit on the 6-inch. So I'm really excited about these. So let's see if they work, right? All right, this is cooled down. I mean, it's still warm, but it's cooled down a little bit. I can touch it with my hands. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this back on the rack. Make sure those things are down and make sure this is down right. Looks good. It's just so cool the way it seals. It's just really cool. All right, so we're gonna put this in, put on the pressure lid, line up the arrows here. They make it real easy. Turn. Make sure the black valve is to this seal position because we're going under pressure. Turn the Ninja Foodi on, hit the pressure, high is what we want, and we want to go to 15 minutes. So we're going to do a 15-minute pressure cook followed by a 10-minute natural release. Then we'll get our pie out, our key lime pie, and we will see if that little thing kept the water off the top, and then we'll get it cooling. All right, so we just have a few seconds left on the natural release, which you're gonna wanna do for 10 minutes. And I will have to tell you that the Ninja Foodi pot came up to pressure super quick. Like it might have taken just 5 minutes. So this is a pretty quick recipe to make. So as soon as it hits 10, which it just did, I'm gonna go ahead and release the remaining pressure. And there isn't much. All right, so the red button depressed, I can go ahead and open up the lid. Always do this away from you. And then let's see if our new silicone cover worked. There's water on top, so, all right. Now I'm not using my usual mitts that I like, but that's okay. Lift this out very carefully. What I'm gonna do is, just because if I move this, I might get the water in, I'm just gonna use a little paper towel and just sort of get the water that's on the top up. Be careful, don't touch it because it is really hot. Perfect. Now, silicone cools very quickly, so there's not much chance of you getting burned by touching that. It is warm, but it's not super hot. Not like the rack would be. Although the rack's cooling down pretty, no, it's hot. So let me put these on. This is another time you want to be careful because you got to go over those little hinges with your pot. That's what causes, I think, it to fall off. So do that carefully. And then let's see. Yay! No water. I'm super excited about these. Oh, you're gonna be seeing me use them all the time. Wow. All right, the key lime pie looks absolutely beautiful. Now, the way to make sure that it is done is to give it a little bit of a jiggle. And you'll see that it's mostly set, but maybe a little bit jiggly in the middle. That's perfect. Now, what I'm gonna do is set it on a cooling rack. Let it cool for about 15 minutes or so, just to bring the temperature down. And then we're gonna get it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. Now you can refrigerate it 2, 3, 4 hours, or you can do it overnight, whatever you wanna do. And then we'll get it decorated. But while that's coming to room temperature, let's make up this super delicious icing that's really easy to make. All right, let me just move the rack out of the way and move this back so you can see what I'm doing here. So I just have a medium-sized mixing bowl, and to that I'm gonna add in 4 ounces of cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, a lot of people, when they're making key lime pie, they'll actually make like a key lime pie cheesecake, which is really good. I mean, it is, I like them, but I prefer traditional key lime pie. So I thought, well, let's make an icing that's like a cream cheese icing. And that's what we're gonna do today. So now you want to put your mixer together. Now you could do this in a stand mixer as well, but it's such a small amount. I feel like it's not really worth dragging out the KitchenAid mixer, so I'm just going to use the hand mixer. And you want your cream cheese to be room temperature. So this has been sitting out for a couple of hours to bring it to room temperature. And we're just going to beat it on low until all the sugar is incorporated and the cream cheese sort of fluffs up a little bit. Okay, now that it's all mixed, I'm gonna raise the speed up to high just to get some more air in and some more fluff into the cream cheese. That looks good. Now I've left most of the cream cheese around the edges, and that's on purpose because I'm gonna pour in a half of a cup of heavy whipping cream, and I want that to go right down so I can start to beat that up so that we get some whipped cream, and then we'll slowly blend the two together and it makes the most delicious icing. Now you could also add a little bit of lime zest if you wanted to, but what I do is garnish with the lime zest, and so I'll show you that. So definitely stick around to the end of this video because this pie is gorgeous. All right, so dump in the half of a cup. Start out low on low speed. If you go in on high speed, you're gonna have heavy cream going everywhere. So start out on low and slowly increase the speed. Okay, so when we start to get peaks like this of the whipped cream, now we're gonna go back to low and we're just gonna blend it all together. I'm gonna scrape down the sides of the bowl and just make sure that every thing is incorporated. It looks like it's a consistent color and it looks great. So now we have a nice and super easy to make cream cheese whipped cream icing. So it's light enough to go on the key lime pie like you would whipped cream, but it's just got this little extra bit of flavor. You know I love flavor. All right, so that's good. So now this is done. Now you can put this in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it, because we're gonna let the pie cool for probably at least 4 hours. But then you're gonna wanna bring it out maybe 30 minutes before you bring your pie out because you want it to soften up some. Or you could also just rebeat it for just a second, just to get it so it's soft enough so we can pipe some decorations. I'm gonna show you how to do these super easy decorations so that when you take this pie to any kind of a picnic or you're just serving it for a dinner party, you are gonna look like you know how to decorate a pie because this is super easy and it looks so professional. All right, so our key lime pie has finished cooling in the refrigerator, and you could do that for a couple of hours or even overnight if you'd like. And now the fun part, we get to decorate it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the springform pan. All right, so what I have is a disposable pastry bag. So these come in like, I think, a pack of 100 or 50 or 100. They're very inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon, and I will link to those below. The beauty of this is that you can just throw them away. No cleaning those pastry bags, which can be kind of a pain. I always fold over the very top, so I make like a little cuff that will keep your hands clean as you fill it. And then I'm using a very large star tip for the piping of the icing. And so we need to cut a little hole here, cut a little bit off. So I'm just gonna use some scissors and just cut about maybe 1 inch off. And then I'll see if the little tip will fit in there. And if it does, we're good to go. If not, I'll trim off some more. And it doesn't quite, I've got to trim off just a little more because we want all of those little points to be exposed so we get really nice decoration on our pie. All right, great, that's perfect. Now, let's get our icing in. And this is the cream cheese and whipped cream icing that we made, and it's so delicious. You're gonna wanna take your icing out of the refrigerator about 30 minutes before you want to decorate so it comes, so it warms up a little bit. It's easier to work with then. All right, so you could do whatever you want. You could put little dabs all over, but what I'm gonna do is just go along the edges and make these little flowers, and look at how easy it is. All you do is squeeze down, push, come up. 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 And repeat all the way around. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. That's beautiful. I'm gonna put one right there and put one right there. So we almost used all of it. Perfect. Now I wanna get the lime zest on. Then I'm gonna determine, do I want to kind of crumble some of these on top? I may or may not. In fact, I might actually take that one off just because I kind of like the center to be just open. So let me go ahead and do that. And this is the beauty of, you're decorating it. You can do whatever you want. So I thought that they were gonna look pretty on there, but I've changed my mind. There you go, fixed. All right, so remember that lime that we used, and I left just a little bit of the rind on there? So what I did was, while the pie was cooling, I wrapped it in a damp towel, put it in a plastic bag, and put it in the refrigerator. And that prevented it from drying out. So now we can use it to kind of put some fine little zest, lime zest, over our pie. That's what I'm gonna do right here. So I'm just gonna go no certain way. Just make sure you're only getting the zest and not the white. The white is bitter. Oh, I can't wait to eat this. This looks so beautiful. And it smells good too. I mean, of course, I'm probably smelling the lime zest here. Put it all over. Oh, I love this. This looks so pretty. Now let me get back here. Now I'm just knocking the zester a little bit because it does kind of accumulate on the underside. So I want to make sure I get it all off. All right, that looks really pretty. So there you go. You have a perfectly decorated key lime pie, and you can actually put it back in to this outer shell. Just clean it off and carefully set it back down in there, and that's great for transporting. And then just cover it with foil, and you can transport it to your picnic or your party, or just put it back in the refrigerator, covered until you're ready to serve it. So, all right, let's take a bite. So what I'm gonna use is a knife that is safe for this nonstick surface. And I got this from Pampered Chef, so I'll link to that below as well, but you can probably pick them up anywhere. And I'm just gonna take a little slice. Now, key lime pie is extremely tart and rich, and you do not need a big slice. So what I'm gonna do is use the little stars as my guideline for the size of the pie. So that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could probably get almost 12 pieces of key lime pie out of this. Now I'm just gonna gently lift up on the bottom here so I can get my slice out. The first one is always the hardest. I mean, that's the case with a cake or any pie. And just slide it, and we're gonna lift up. Hopefully get all the way to the bottom there and lift up. And there we go. Got a nice, pretty piece of pie. All right, I'm gonna put this right on my plate, and let's get it up here so I can taste it. This is the best part. Now, I have never been a fan of key lime pie. So when I was making them in the restaurant, I didn't really know if they were very good or not. I mean, I just made them and I put them out there. Everybody loved them. This is the same recipe that I used. I just converted it to the Ninja Foodi. So let's see how it tastes. Well, I can tell that this is perfect consistency. So it pulls apart and it's soft, and I know it's gonna be delicious. Let's see. Oh, wow. That really, oh my gosh, it tastes so much like lime. It's tart, a little sweet. The crust is perfectly balancing out the sourness, though, of the lime. Oh my gosh, this is delicious. I have to save some of this for Jeff. He's the person in our house that loves key lime pie. So I'm gonna save that for him. But I wanted to get a piece with the bottom crust on because, oh, I just know this is gonna be the perfect bite. This icing is perfection. In fact, it's so good, I might do the whole pie with it, so you get a little bit of it with every single bite, because that is the perfect bite when you get all of these flavors together. A lot of times people say, is it really quicker to make things in the Ninja Foodi? Well, with this dessert, time-wise, if you look at it, no, it takes the same amount of time. However, convenience and consistency is key. Once you put it in, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about the oven having a hot spot. So in that instance, this is a time saver.